U.S. tightens banking rules for immigrants. What you need to know. Hello, Discovery Learning Hub family. Today we're breaking down a major new U.S. policy that links banking access to immigration status, a change that's generating global attention and controversy. Let's unpack what's happened, why it matters, and what it could mean for millions of people. Why this matters now. On May 19, 2026, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order titled, Restoring Integrity to America's Financial System. This directive asks banks and regulators to step up scrutiny of customer accounts in connection with immigration status and financial risk, especially for non-citizens. Experts say this could reshape how financial institutions identify who can get bank accounts, loans, and credit, raising questions about fairness, risk, and privacy. What the executive order does. Here's what's in the new policy. It directs the Treasury Department and federal banking regulators to issue guidance to financial institutions on identifying customers whose transactions or documentation might suggest financial crime or illegal activity. Banks are now being told to look for red flags, such as unusual cash withdrawals, use of shell companies, or accounts opened with certain identification numbers instead of Social Security numbers. The use of an individual taxpayer identification number (ITIN), often used by immigrants without Social Security numbers to file taxes, is listed as something that could trigger extra scrutiny. Importantly, the order stops short of forcing banks to collect customers' citizenship or immigration status by default, but regulators are now being asked to consider how that might happen in the future. Why it's controversial. Critics, including immigrant advocates, civil rights groups, and some economists, warn that this move could push immigrants out of the formal banking system. People without citizenship or legal status, including workers, students, and families, often use ITINs or alternative IDs to open accounts and pay bills. Scrutiny could make banks more cautious about who they serve, even if that person is in the U.S. legally. Proponents say, helps protect the financial system from fraud and crime, encourages banks to know their customers better. Critics say, could increase the number of unbanked people, might push marginalized communities into cash-only systems, raises concerns about privacy and financial access, how banks currently work, and what could change. Before this policy, U.S. banks followed Know Your Customer (KYC) and anti-money laundering rules, but they didn't routinely check a customer's immigration or citizenship status. With this directive, regulators have 90 days to propose updated rules. Those could eventually allow banks to require more documentation when opening accounts or issuing loans. Broader context. Immigration policy and the economy. This order isn't occurring in isolation. It's part of a broader pattern of U.S. immigration policy changes that have tightened access to visas, social services, and now financial services. While the government frames this as protecting national security and financial integrity, many advocates see it as another hurdle for immigrants, even those with authorized status. What this means for real people. So, what does this look like for everyday people? If you're a U.S. citizen or permanent resident, the order doesn't immediately change your banking access. If you're a non-citizen using an ITIN, you may see more questions or documentation requests when opening accounts. For undocumented individuals, community advocates worry banks may tighten access or close accounts to avoid risk. Whatever your perspective, this shift represents a powerful connection between the financial system and immigration policy. It underscores the way global migration issues now intersect with everyday services like bank accounts and credit. At Discovery Learning Hub, we'll continue following how this develops, especially once regulators release more detailed regulations. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit like and subscribe so you never miss an update on major global policies that shape our world. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. United States.